I call my path breath mastery because I realized that if I master my breath on the way, I have to master my body, I have to master my mind, and I have to master my emotions. I cannot master my breath without mastering my mind, body, and emotions. And I cannot master my mind, body, and emotions without mastering my breath. So for me, it comes to very simple. Everything really is simplified. And then you can start to embellish and deepen and broaden. So you combine breathing with movement. You combine breathing with visualization. You combine breathing with sound. You combine breathing with nutrition. You combine breathing with, so that's what cold exposure. Oh my God, great. And heat exposure for that matter. But cold exposure, wow, the science is unarguable about the benefits of that. Um, so yeah, and that's where I think that's where your intuition starts to guide you. You get into a breathing practice, and it leads you to changing your diet. It leads you to being curious about other things, and so we're back to that. And what I feel is like that the pure impulse we want a non-ordinary state of consciousness. We long for it. Where everyone has an addictive personality. So you have to be careful what you apply that addictive tendency to. You got to choose your drugs wisely, right? And so, yeah, people tend to sometimes, like you mentioned, Wim Hof. Well, Wim Hof builds cold exposure into his first breathing class. It's like, and yeah, I've known Wim for 20 years. I knew him before his wife died. I knew him when his son Emin was a toddler. So I go way back with Wim because I follow people who breathe, and I have my whole life. Um, and so the research around brain waves, changing brainwave states. Wow, breath, here comes the breath. It's essential piece and all that again. So I'm all for it. I'm all for combining breath work with any other modality that by itself is useful and healthy. And now you bring the breath into it, and that modality is supercharged. Or if you're already doing breathing and now you're aware of this other healthy modality and you incorporate that into your personal breathing practice, you're going to take your breathing to the next level. And I think that's a normal evolution and development. We tend to do that. You end up in the right place at the right time, reading the right book, meeting the right teacher. And it's all because you're gradually getting more and more into the flow. And you're not coming from stress and struggle. You're coming from presence and flow. And everything lines up more naturally. Uh, you end up in the right place at the right time. A book falls off the shelf on your head accidentally. This stuff really happens. Yeah.
I think that's called the reticular activating system. Like when you begin to really focus in on things, the world, the universe, God will reveal a whole lot more of them to you. And that happened early in your life. As you're saying, you'd be walking on the beach and somebody's drowning, they need it. It's like, well, you were seeking those things out, and maybe there was a calling on your life. I've done a lot of cold exposure myself. It's been a daily practice for over 2 years. I've attended multiple seminars on it as well. And breath is the only thing that has enabled me to be consistent in it. I hate it every morning. I negotiate with myself. Why am I doing this? I have to focus in on breathing before I get in. It's the only thing that's going to calm me when I'm sitting in that 38-degree cold tub. So I love this talk of integrating multiple practices together.
As a rescuer, I had to dive. I had to break the ice and dive in and rescue people. And afterwards, I felt so damn good. And I thought I felt good because the job I just did, but the cold, the exhilaration, that was the physiological feeling of being good, not just the psychological feeling. There was something about the cold. It musters up our survival instincts. It turns on things in the body that make you feel so alive. And then all the other stuff you're doing to feel alive, it pales in comparison. It really does. And even something as simple as smoking. I worked a lot with the AIDS community back in the late 70s. And I did a lot of quit smoking stuff with people. Hey, when you're smoking, you can see your breath. You can feel your breath. You're paying attention to breathing. Just skip the cigarette and start to see your breath and feel your breath and pay attention to your breath. And it's amazing. It's just redirecting attention, redirecting energy. And for me, that's our way out of every addiction. You have to redirect energy and redirect attention as soon as you see it going there. If you wait too long, it's got too much momentum. It's like a locomotive train and it's really hard to stop. But if you can get it, if you can kill it in the womb, as they say, like if you could get to it as soon as, so that's why if you're paying attention to your energy and you're paying attention to your thoughts and feelings and reactions, you can catch stuff sooner. And then a breath becomes an intervention, an interruption. You use your breath to redirect energy and attention. And now you're in a different state. It's really, I hate to make it sound so simple, but when you get right down to it, it's easy but not simple, simple but not easy. But we get better and better at this. The quicker, the sooner we start to catch ourselves, and the sooner we do a little mini intervention with the breath, the more and more all that stuff falls away, the less power it has over us. And hey, we're going to fall on our face lots of times in the process of recovering and getting through stuff. And so then you need to be developing this compassionate voice, oh, well, okay, get up, try again. Don't beat yourself up. That makes me want to drink even more when I stop beating myself up, whatever, so, and all this stuff gets very clear. And I think people like you and recovery coaches and a recovery community, everybody starts to hear things in ways that maybe they couldn't hear it. And your story, sharing your story, somebody else hears the way you talk about it. And on the inside, they're going, wow, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. They wouldn't admit it, but that the connections are being made. And if you add breathing to that, oh my God, in the same way that you have, teams in football and special forces and SEAL teams, they lock arms, they synchronize their breathing, they have a common intention, it's common focus, and everyone is energized by that. Everyone is uplifted by that. And so taking group breathing into these other, recovery modalities, wow, it just amplifies everything.
Yeah, and we're gonna point people to your book and to your breath mastery site because I know you have some courses and some some introductory stuff for people out there. I love that you talked about the community aspect. Everybody has probably at some point has felt when their nervous system is aligned with another person, maybe a single individual or a group of people, the synchronicity that it creates. Oftentimes you have this with pets, right? If you're stressed, anxious, dog comes over and puts his head on your lap. It's like there's this calming component when you are in these communities of people practicing these things together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that group flow, coherence in a group is powerful. Heartbeats actually synchronize. Emotional field becomes common. It's real stuff. It's real stuff. And if we engage in it, deliberately and consciously and intentionally, it makes it work even better.